They called it a success, a containment operation, a miracle of coordination between marine biologists, the Coast Guard, and one half-mad old fisherman. But I was there, and I'm telling you now, we didn't win a damn thing. The official response came 3 days too late. By then, 6 people were dead, boats torn open like soup cans, and the beaches deserted. All the brochures still showed palm trees and parasails, but the only real thing left was fear. Captain Rostova, tough, sharp, no nonsense. She looked like she hadn't slept in a week. You could see it in her eyes, that dawning realization that this wasn't a shark they were chasing. It was something worse. Lena Hansen, the marine biologist I've been shadowing, laid it out plain. "They're addicted," she said, just like that. The word hung there like a bad smell. Cocaine wasn't just making them erratic, it was rewiring them. So the plan, God help us, was to turn that weakness into bait. They cooked up a hyper-concentrated mixture, liquid cocaine thick enough to make your nose bleed from 10 feet away. The idea was simple. Draw Apex and his pod into a trap and blow them straight to hell. Maverick Johnson, the old captain, volunteered to go down in the cage. Of course he did. Said he knew those waters better than any sonar. Said he had to look it in the eye. We launched at dawn. They dropped Mav 200 feet into Sombrero Deep, where the light dies and the water crushes bone. Released the bait. Then we waited. The first ones came within minutes. Not Apex, no, these were the others. Smaller, twitchier, their eyes rolling, their bodies jittering through the water like they were possessed. They swarmed the cage, snapping at each other, at nothing, frenzied. Then the sonar chirped, louder, faster. One voice crackled over the comms. "Big contact." Jesus! How big? I saw it with my own eyes through the subfeed. Apex, scarred, changed, bigger. His hide streaked with wounds that looked like war paint, and his eyes, blacker than oil, lit from within like embers. He didn't rush. He studied the cage like a man casing a bank. Then all hell broke loose. Rostova shouted the order, "Fire!" And the sea lit up like Judgment Day. Explosions punched through the water. Blood, debris, silence. For a few precious minutes, we thought it was done. Mav surfaced, alive, pale, shaken. "It looked at me," he said, "right before it hit, like it knew. But I should have known better. A week later, I saw it. Just a fin far past the reef, carving a line through sunset surf. It moved like it had a purpose, like it remembered. Then Lena called, "Midnight." Her voice tight as piano wire. "They're back," she said. "Not just one, multiples, big, organized." And that's when I knew. We hadn't killed Apex. We'd taught him something terrible. 6 months. That's how long we pretended it was over. 6 months of silence, beach weddings, dolphin cruises, and laughter piping over loudspeakers like a spell to keep the monsters away. But underneath, we all knew. We knew Apex was still out there. The peace ended on a Tuesday. A thermal anomaly popped up on the deep ocean sensors 2,000 feet down in the Florida escarpment. Not one, not two, dozens moving into formation, each the size of a school bus. The first to see them was a tourist sub, the Deep Explorer, standard sightseeing loop. Captain came on the mic, cheerful as ever. Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing some unusual bioluminescence. Unusual? That's what he called the glowing eyes. They caught it on the sub's feed right before the transmission went black. Shapes in the dark, massive and silent. Apex was at the center of them, but he was different now, pulsing with eerie light, scars lined with something unnatural. His body was a canvas of pain, and it glowed. And the things around him? Smaller, but not small, quicker than they should be. The tourists didn't scream until it was too late. We studied the sub's footage later. It didn't make sense. Great whites don't reproduce in schools, but Apex had. They found egg sacs, dozens, scattered like landmines across the ocean floor. Sharks don't do that. Sharks don't glow. Sharks don't hunt in coordinated patterns like special forces. But these did. Whatever the cocaine had done, whatever the abyss had shaped, Apex wasn't a shark anymore. He was the alpha of something new, a species born of poison and pressure and pain. The government tried to keep it under wraps, claimed sonar glitches, deep-sea mirages, but then boats started vanishing. Fishing crews stopped checking in. Bodies washed up missing more than limbs. They sent a Navy submersible, top of the line. Disappeared within the hour. Final transmission, a scream. And then they surfaced. It happened fast. I was on Rostova's cutter when the water turned to chaos. Fins, dozens. The surface erupted, whitecaps, foam, teeth. Apex breached first, 25 feet long, glowing like a demon. The juveniles, his spawn, followed, already as big as full-grown whites and faster. They didn't strike like animals. They hunted. One juvenile would disable the boat. Another circled the perimeter. Apex waited beneath the waves, jaws open for the fall. We opened fire. Machine guns, harpoons, grenades. It didn't matter. One of the cutters went under in less than 3 minutes. The other barely made it back. I was in the water for 3 hours before they pulled me out. I don't remember much of it. Just one thing burned into my brain. Apex, watching me, his eye black and glowing, locked on mine. Not instinct, not hunger, recognition, and something else. Revenge. They called it a gas leak in the news, a malfunction, mechanical failure, but ask anyone who was there if they're still alive, and they'll tell you the truth. Apex is evolving. The Florida Keys are gone, quietly evacuated under the cover of environmental protections. Tourists think it's about coral. It's not about coral. Sometimes late at night, fishing boats report strange lights in the water, geometric patterns, symbols, like they're communicating. Every few months, a body turns up along the Gulf. Sometimes it's missing limbs. Sometimes it's worse. That's my story. The real one. The last one I'll ever tell from the coast. I'm moving inland now, as far from the ocean as I can get. Because the sea remembers, it never forgets. And Apex, he's still hungry.